Grandmaster Aravindh Chithambaram is going to his game. He's going to play the finals against Javokhir Sindarov. And there you see Boris Gelfand talking to Arvind. He's taking the elevator from the 9th floor where he's staying in the hotel to the 3rd floor where the game is about to happen. We are at the Naroditsky Memorial Rapid Tournament. Arvind and Javokhir Sindarov both have ended the tournament with 6 out of 7. They are the only two players who managed to score that same points, and now a tie break of 2 games of 3 plus 2 is what they're going to indulge in. And look at Arvind there. He is a bit jet lagged. He's traveled all the way from India to fight for that trophy and also to honor the legacy of one of the greatest chess commentators, human beings, players, trainers, educators of chess, Daniel Naroditsky. And there you see the world championship challenger, Javokhir Sindarov, comes in. Handshake and off we go. E4, E5, knight to F3, knight C6, and we have the 4 knights here with knight C3. Will he also play knight F6? Yes, he does. Okay, D4 is one move, but Arvind goes for bishop B5. We have knight D4. The bishop drops back to E2. And Sindarov plays bishop to D6, defending the pawn. Yes, blocking temporarily the C8 bishop. But now C6. Bishop comes out to E3, putting pressure on the knight. You can take on F3 or you could take on E2. It does make sense to take on E2 and get yourself the bishop pair. And Sindarov now takes it. Knight takes E2. But if you look at the clock, Sindarov has 1 minute 55 seconds and Arvind has 2 minutes 28 seconds. D4, D6. And now he takes on E5. Maybe not the best decision, but Arvind wanted to block this castling option. Bishop G4 to make space for the queen to come to C8. And now Rook D1 attacking the queen. Knight goes to D7. Also, the queen can now come to F6, putting pressure on the knight and the bishop on C5. Well, Arvind has one small issue in the position, and that is the fact that his opponent has the bishop pair. But now Arvind, who had a small time lead, is using up all his time here and plays pawn to H3, bishop H5. At this moment, the bishop going back to G6 seems to be fine. Bishop to G6 now putting pressure on E4. And Arvind has 1 minute 1 second. Javokhir has 1 minute 23 seconds. It does feel like black is slightly uncomfortable because of this pin, but I think next move you can come out of it. H4, maybe a good idea to push H5 to trap the bishop. Maybe H4, H5 and G5 could be an idea. He goes bishop D6 and with just 20 seconds takes, and very quickly queen E7 played by Sindarov. Rook comes to D2. Now the F4 square is a weakness, so you can actually go towards it with knight C5, knight E6, knight F4, or knight F8, knight E6, knight F4. A good idea now is to play H5, because imagine if you play G5 now, you could potentially even play H4 to pop the bishop out this way. Sindarov taking his time. He has an extra minute on the clock now, trying to figure out what is the best way to take advantage of the way Arvind has played. If Javokhir is able to strike with the black pieces, it would make his task of winning this easier. Long castle played. Wow. And now queen to e3, attacking the a7 pawn. So king b8 makes sense. He plays his king to b8. And Aravindh, well, he's down to last few seconds. He castles. Well, the king is a bit weak here, right? h5 is possible to hit the king side. Knight jumps to c5. Rooks get traded. And now f6 to defend the e5 pawn to go knight e6, but knight h4 comes in. Knight goes to e6, knight e2, controlling these two squares. He goes rook d8, offering a trade, knight f5. The queen is attacked. Now, do you want to take here? But then pawn takes, and the knight on e6 does not have those squares here. He goes queen b4. Rook takes rook, knight takes, and now if you take here, queen takes b2. So he plays pawn to b3, knight e6, knight g3. Javokhir now takes the knight on f5 and Aravindh takes back with the pawn. The knight jumps to f4. King to h2, a good move. The position is around equal right now. Queen a5 attacking the a pawn, a4 played. But now we have queen d5 threatening a mate. The knight jumps to e4. King comes up and you have king to g3. This is very risky. The white king is almost about to get mated. And here queen f3. And now queen c1. Misses his chance. c3. Queen to c2. Attacking the b3 pawn. b4. And Javokhir takes a pawn. g5 played. Pawn takes pawn. Knight takes. And now queen a2. He takes on h7. White gets back the pawn. But look at this pawn being weak. Sindarov finding some great moves. Queen f5. Knight jumps back to e4 and now b6 played to create a passer here. h4 and queen h5 is offering a trade of queens, but this knight endgame is completely in black's favor because of the outside passer. Takes, king comes up. Sindarov, he's played so well. King, knight c5, a3, king f5, attacking the knight. Could play a2, but the knight will come and stop it. King d6, attacking the knight. He comes back, gives a check. King d5, incredible calculation, takes the pawn. And a2, the knight has to go to b3, check. And knight c2, he's going to queen. Aravindh resigns there. What a win for Javokhir Sindarov. And they just simply put back the pieces there. Excellent play by Javokhir. You can see him taking some energy drinks to get into the mood of the next encounter. A handshake immediately starting. Pawn to e4. g6. Aravindh says, I need to play something that gives me chances to beat you with black. Not easy. Pawn to f4, 3 pawns, knight f6 played. And he castles the Perk defense, and Sindarov goes for the Austrian attack, it's called, with the 3 pawns. Bishop e3 and pawn to e5. Questioning the bishop. If you go back, the e5 pawn is hanging, so takes. Queen takes, and now takes on d4. Bishop takes, and the knight comes out to c6, attacking the bishop. Well, Aravindh creates some imbalance. Always, it's a good idea when playing for a win to have some imbalance on the board. Knight d7 usually is the idea. He goes back. White castles. The bishop is powerful on this diagonal. Maybe knight b6. The knight could also jump to d4. Ooh, he gives up the bishop. Now this is very provocative play by Aravindh Chithambaram. The dark squares around his king are weak, but that's what you have to do when playing for a win. Sindarov is clearly better here, but well, he has to manage the clock. He has to manage his position. Rook a e8 brings the rook in, keeping the pressure on the e4 pawn. Rook comes to d1. And now Aravindh goes knight to b6. The bishop will drop back to b3. Black is stable, but white has ideas of pushing e5 at the right time. And now knight a5, trying to put a knight on the c4 square. But it's a long way away from any stability. Queen d3 can be an idea to stop the piece from coming to c4. Sindarov thinking about all the possibilities that he has. He goes rook fe1, knight to c4. And maybe what Aravindh is looking for is b5, c5. Controlling the position. I like how Aravindh has created some chances for himself. I mean, objectively, white is better. But this play has kind of thrown off Javokhir. You can see his time usage, 2 minutes 10 seconds, Aravindh 1 minute 48 seconds. But now for a long think, Sindarov actually starting to go below Aravindh on the clock. I guess if you play queen d3, I'll go b5. So he plays a4. Aravindh goes a6 to prepare b5. And now bishop to d4. Queen comes to h4. And look at these ideas of knight d2, rook d2, queen e1. Tactics. I guess you can go back. Bishop f2. He goes rook e2. Is Javokhir playing for a win here? I mean, a draw would suffice. b5 takes. And now f5 played. That's a mistake. Actually, he had to keep this structure. But with f5, now the e5 square becomes weak. So the knight drops back. Good move there by Aravindh. The other knight will jump to c4. These two knights will be well positioned. And this is exactly what knights are looking for. They need homes. They need stable homes against the bishops. And that's what Javokhir has given Aravindh. The knight on e5, very stably placed. Javokhir takes, rook takes, and bishop to d5. Okay, the bishop is well placed, but you can always kick it away with c6. And king g7 is also possible. Just improve the position of the king from a position that was not so great. Aravindh has done amazingly well to come here where he's the one calling the shots. Well, he has an extra minute on the clock as well. So this time it's Aravindh who's now taking stock of things. He goes c6, bishop jumps to a2, knight b7, defending the pawn on d6. Rook f1, rook f2, but now rook takes e4. Takes. And if bishop takes f7, king g7, and black is better. Aravindh plays king to g7 first and tempts Javokhir to take here on f7, which would be a losing position for Javokhir. Well, look at his time. It's come down to 10 seconds. Aravindh truly having put Javokhir in big pressure. f6. Now king comes back to g8. Rook e1. But now we have knight to c5. g3. Okay, you can take the pawn. But why not go back? I mean, why to even give him rook h2 and some pressure here? Just keep it closed. You are winning the game. Rook e8, e4 is weak. d5 is coming. Comes back, queen h6. Excellent play. King g2 And now d5, but he goes rook e8, rook e2, defends, g5 maybe. The f6 pawn is a weakness. Aravindh is also coming down to last 20 seconds. Sindarov has 7 seconds. Look at Javokhir's confidence there. He goes rook a8, bishop b3, and rook a3. Rook d1 played, now attacking d6. And he comes back queen f8, queen f4, maybe come back rook a8, but he takes on b3. And this is actually now giving white chances to come back rook e6, but boom, rook takes d6. And this is winning now for Sindarov, because takes, there's a back rank mate. And you can't stop it. In fact, take the queen and rook d8 will be a mate. So Aravindh has to respond, takes. And now c6 is also hanging. He plays h5, e5 played, with the threat of e6, check, and he resigns there. Javokhir Sindarov wins 2-0. What a match this was. And the second game, well, Aravindh really fought well, could have made a comeback, and you can see Mukhyiddin and Islombek, they are there to root for Javokhir like always. And so many people watch this finals, and applause for Javokhir Sindarov becoming the champion of the Naroditsky Memorial Rapid 2026. Aravindh gets the second position. And I love that they are discussing chess. These are the things that really stand out for me in the game of chess. Someone has won the tournament, but instead of just, celebrating, they are actually discussing with each other on what could have been done better. I mean, in game 1, Sindarov had played beautifully, and there you see Daniel Naroditsky's mother giving Sindarov the trophy. What a touching moment that is. A beautiful, heartwarming moment. And you can find the interview with Javokhir Sindarov on our channel, where he talks about Daniel Naroditsky and his legacy. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and that's the Uzbek team there. This is Sagar Shah signing off. Bye bye.